You've been glittered, bitch. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and unrelenters of all ages. Episode 119 of Unrelenting. It's a Friday. How you doing, Gene?
I am doing all right, I guess.
That carbon dioxide in your air is finally getting to you. You sound very calm or near death. I'm never sure which it is.
I sent you the link to that video of the guy testing carbon dioxide levels, right?
I don't think so. I mean, you said a lot about
I'll have to
unreal people.
I do like to send you unreal people. That's true.
It's true, and it's very easy to do. I mean, there's a multiple facet thing here when it comes to creating a person, an influencer. And it was interesting because a Gary Vaynerchuk video popped up. I guess he's written another book. Man, the guy writes a lot of books. I know.
Well, somebody writes a lot of books that he puts his name on.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I think he used to write his books, probably not anymore. But you write a lot of books as well.
No, I don't.
You keep going. You keep going to Mexico. Like, I'm going to Mexico to write my book.
Well, okay, I do have a few books in progress. That's true.
you go like 14 times a year to Mexico to write, and then nobody ever sees any books coming out. So they're starting to think there might be something else involved with the.
I'm writing reports.
Yeah, for what you're going down there for. But he was talking about exactly what you and I have been extensively, which is, if you're a real live meat bag influencer, your days are really numbered.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Way easier, way cheaper. Although the concept he had, well, the companies will just create the influencers, and maybe they will, but this takes time still in order to.
You don't have to create them. I mean, this is going back to the old Hollywood model, right? There's a point where there's always been a flip-flopping between who has real power in Hollywood. Is it the people that you actually see on the screens, or is it the people that are in charge of making movies?
Right, the people that are the puppet masters.
Yeah, and I think it's a similar thing here, because the whole idea of influencer really came about out of the fact that these people were not controlled, or I mean, they weren't represented.
Correct.
And they just were on Instagram or on YouTube or on Twitch or somewhere where they themselves got crazy big audiences. And so they owned the audience, not a company that they were working for. Well, that's no good. Somebody's got to take care of that.
It's all about the eyeballs.
So, yeah. Well, eyeballs, subscribers, whatever way you want to put it.
Attention, right.
If a company wants to get their message out, you don't build a billboard that's in the middle of a cornfield. You build it next to a highway.
Right. So people can crash while they look at your.
Well, if it's a really good one, yeah.
Yeah, if it's a good message, like a chick getting undressed, it's like, boom, gone. Well, I don't think I said I'm Darren O'Neill. He's Gene of Duluth.
There's a funny billboard I saw a picture of. I didn't see the actual billboard. I saw a picture of. And, God, I'm going to butcher it in trying to paraphrase it, but it was hilarious. It was a picture of a roof, and the little quote thing, or the verbiage was hot shingles in need of getting nailed.
They're trying
something like that.
This was a roofer who went to ChatGPT, like, give me something sexy.
It was something like that, but it was pretty damn funny. And it was an actual billboard photo on the road. So somebody had a good sense of humor. But yeah, the idea being that, it's hot out, your shingles are going to start slipping. They need to probably have somebody go up there, check your shingles, and then nail them. And did it in a very cute, memorable way.
Because people don't really care if they're looking at a real person or a fake person, because they don't know. And I think even if they know, they don't care.
We never used to look at real people. We used to look at drawings of people in advertising.
True.
And then that was replaced by photographs, but photographs are still, not only are they touched up, but they're also like artificial. The advertising photos, those are positioned. Those are manufactured photographs. They're not somebody's actual house. They're a fake house with fake people set up the way that they want it to be set up.
Yeah, with fake food. I mean, when you see those early, I don't know what they're doing now, but for most of those commercials that they were showing you, the big Whopper, it was just made with like whatever they're making the stuff out of. It wasn't real.
Well, it was pseudo real. I mean, it was, a lot of the stuff was made out of the actual ingredients, but it was hand carved and then glued in place.
Right.
Like, these are made to look appetizing, not to be eaten.
The concept, again, with the influencers is having the eyeballs. Now, I'm not really sure, because of the fact that it is now so easy to do this, does this now not start to kind of kill the business as well? Because where there used to be only, I don't know, what percent of the population is a hot young female, because that is what most of these influencers are. Hot females between the ages of, let's say, 18 to 30. 16. Well,
it's really 16 to 20.
And then there's a little bit of an outlier, but okay, that's your main demographic.
Yep.
How many of those people actually exist? And then let's relate that to how many of those people that are going to be AI based are going to exist. The hot chicks are going to have like 5,000 competition fake chicks per every one real chick.
No, I don't think so. It does take effort to make these things and to keep them going. Somebody's got to write all the content. It's like, well, ChatGPT can write it. Well, yeah, but someone's got to put in the prompt. But you can put in one prompt and be like, give me this for 5,000 different. Yeah, and an actual hot chick just has to wake up and put on makeup. So,
well, it takes a long time to put on that makeup, Gene.
Well, not if you use virtual makeup, which is what a lot of them are doing these days.
This is true. You just like turn on the
camera and it clears up all the blemishes, gives you the right level of makeup, makes your skin look perfect.
That's what you do when you're on any of these video shows, I know.
Oh, well, you're looking at it right now.
Yeah. I mean, you look
I just have the lights off, that's all.
A lot younger now, too. I mean, that's a good look.
Uh-huh.
But the overall ease in which you can do this is getting better and better. I mean, meaning that it's getting easier on a daily basis, it seems.
Yeah, and there is a bit of a question as to what you mean by influencer, because traditionally, influencer was somebody that does something online that attracts a big attention.
Right.
In the last 5 years, a bigger percentage of that has been OnlyFans. So it's not just attracting attention because you play a video game. It's also because she plays a little bit of video games, but then steers people from the video games into seeing her naked for money.
As one would.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be honest.
I think that what we're seeing is a natural evolutionary process, which has always been there. It's just utilizing slightly different technology. There's a reason that young women are more attractive than old women. You know why?
Because they're young.
Because they're fertile. And humanity would not survive if men were more attracted to women who are not fertile.
But now they're going to be attracted to fertile-looking digital images that are projected on a screen.
Somebody who doesn't age.
Ever.
And just always looks like they're 18.
And you know what? If she's like, hey, that favorite band you like sucks, you type a few keys in, and then all of a sudden she's like, hey, I love that favorite band you like.
Yeah, well, you're talking about the wife replacement, and that's another thing that's kind of here, but will be coming a lot more so, which is the virtual girlfriend / wife,
right?
Who behaves more like the way that men would prefer women behave than the way that women actually behave.
Like those traditional Russian women.
Imagine a wife that behaved the way that your fiance behaves. The point at which a woman is a fiance, pre-marriage, post,
and pre-fiance, really?
Mm-hmm. Well, no. Here's the thing. Pre-fiance, they're still like testing the waters with you. So they're going to do shit, and sometimes subconsciously, like without even thinking about it, they're going to do shit that stresses you out and challenges you because they want to see what your response is. This is that point where you have to prove to a woman that you're a good boyfriend. Once you get past the her taking the ring, you've gone through that phase. You've proven that you're worthy of being with for a long period of time. You're going to provide her with money. I mean, affection and all that stuff she wants.
Right, money.
So consequently, now it's the opposite. Now she's in that phase where she can't do anything that'll piss you off enough to cancel the wedding. So the fiance phase of the 3 phases is the one where you get the best, most desirable behavior from a woman as a man. Because once you get married, remember the old joke, which isn't really that much of a joke, which is guy is telling his buddy, man, I just got the best blowjob of my life. And it's the day before his marriage. And then you have the next frame, you have the fiance talking to her best friend saying, man, I just gave the last blowjob of my life.
Yeah. That contract, once it is signed, until death do us part.
Done deal. And the other thing that's also a commonly said thing about marriage is if you put a penny into a jar for every time you have sex the first year of your marriage, and then you take a penny out of that jar every time you have sex for the rest of your life, you'll still have pennies in the bucket.
You're going to be buried with a lot of copper.
Mm-hmm. So,
well, they're not really made out of copper anymore.
No, not really. I think they're aluminum or something. But obviously those are, exaggerated things, but they're nonetheless, they stem from a good reality. So for all those of you that haven't been married, even if you don't think you're having all that much sex, trust me, you're having a lot more sex.
Gene speaks from experience. He's been married 14 times now, I think.
No, I learned my lesson the first time, man. Once was enough for me.
Once and done.
Once and done. Exactly.
Well, yeah, because she didn't understand, like, oh, what is this? $15,000. Did you buy a car? No, spaceship.
No, it was a spaceship.
You mean like a physical, like some kind of rocket ship you bought?
Mm-hmm.
No, like in a video game. And yeah, the understanding level goes right out the window.
It's funny how that works.
I know.
Right?
Copper-plated zinc is what they're made out of today.
Is that what it is? Copper-plated zinc. Wow. So zinc must be cheap then.
Yeah.
If they're making them out of zinc.
I mean, I think the pennies still have more natural material worth than they do 1 cent. So the government gets real upset if you start like melting them down.
Yeah, I could see that. What else can you make out of zinc, I wonder?
I don't know. You're supposed to take zinc every day, man, so you can get your...
So you could eat your penny.
Right. You can eat the penny. It'll just... This is not medical advice.
That's true. Not medical advice. Don't eat the pennies. Because zinc is antimicrobial, I believe.
The fiance phase. I like that as a show title.
Yeah. The fiance phase is it's the good part of any relationship.
This is why you want to make that last as long as you possibly can, guys. When the wife's like, the fiance's like, oh, it's going to take a long time to plan the wedding. Be grateful for that.
Yeah, totally. a couple of years, 3 years, 4
Yes.
years, 5 years.
I mean, take 5, take 7. What are we in a rush for?
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
Very good point.
Because we came from the world of standard definition television and Playboy magazine, that the big thing was, well, this is portraying an unrealistic expectation of what women should look like. What the hell has happened now? Not only is okay, well, that you picked up the magazine and maybe you found the chick attractive, maybe you didn't, maybe you're like, oh, fuck, it's a brunette.
Yeah, you definitely found the chick attractive. What are you talking about?
Some more than others. I mean, really, I don't know. I am very picky.
Some more than others, but pretty much all enough.
Geez, like there was a bar, they all jumped right on over the bar.
I mean, a Playboy, if a chick is in Playboy, she is going to be attractive enough.
Well, now they could be men.
Now they are men. But back in the day, there were the only place you had men in Playboy was the guys that made the cartoons, which is the main reason I subscribed to Playboy, is for the cartoons.
And the jokes. I mean, the one page of jokes were worth the price of admission.
Yeah. I mean, Playboy really was sort of the dirty magazine that you, as a writer, wouldn't be, made fun of for writing in. It was a literal or a literate, I guess, magazine for.
It was it was highbrow amongst that type of publication.
Yeah.
It was read by the concerning man who wanted to know all about the latest technology and shaving and grooming, and a lot of ads for cologne.
Well, it was definitely an alpha dude magazine, that's for sure.
Which is a dying breed at this point as well, which is a little strange at the same time.
Yeah, because there's no testosterone in American men anymore.
It seems that way.
Well, no, it's factually true, because they do tests, and those tests show a great decline in testosterone levels of American males. You have men that are 20 years old who have lower testosterone than 60-year-olds.
No wonder the old guys keep getting the chicks.
Well, it's pretty obvious. The old guys have the best form of testosterone. It's called money.
Money. Yeah, women love money. Gene at SirGene.com.
Because women understand what money is. Money is it's the retained work that's already been done, but not yet spent. See, when you work and then you spend everything that you just worked for,
you got nothing.
Week,
yeah.
You got nothing for her to spend. But when you work and you don't spend all that work product, you save it up. That's what money is. And that means now she can take the work that you did and then utilize it to make herself look better and then get a new husband. So it works out really well for her.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, the guy's got to be very careful about that play.
Last night I was talking to a buddy of mine, a guy that I used to do a podcast with, in fact, back now 6 or 7 years ago. We had a business podcast that we did for about a year.
None of your co-hosts seem to make it beyond a year except me. So I think
I know. Well, no, Ben's over a year now, too.
Wow. The two at the same time, too. That you're not even a monogamister.
No, I'm definitely not a monogamist. Yes, not been accused of that for a long time. But I started, there's two interesting things. One was he was talking about his ex-wife, because I asked him, how are the girls? How are your kids? Are you talking to them? And said, yeah, I have no idea. I haven't talked to them for a while because, they don't want to talk to their dad because they're both in college. And, college students in general don't want to talk to their dad. But when your dad's divorced from your mom for the last decade, then they definitely don't want to talk to dad. But so he was talking about them and then mentioned that his ex-wife is now on her third husband, with each husband being richer. So the last time he dropped off one of the girls here in Austin, at her house back when he came out for a visit. He actually lives in California now, but when he came out for a visit, so it was a huge house on the lake. So, this current marriage, she managed to snag somebody that's not just a millionaire, which this guy is, but like a multi-millionaire.
Okay, see, now that sucks. You think I'm a millionaire, I'm pretty set, but no, there's multi-millionaires and billionaires out there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. When this guy was living in Austin, we were really good friends. And I think in the 5 years that we're hanging out, I mean, other than doing the podcast, we're just good friends. We went out to eat a lot and hung out, went to bars, and, we actually went on trips and traveled together quite a bit too. And I think
did you spend a lot of time in a Colombian prison together by any chance?
Not that I'm aware of, but I spent about $1 million and he spent about $2 million. And it was a fun time in Austin and traveling, and a lot of girls were in that time frame as well. But I mean, it's all drop in the hat compared to what women spend on a regular basis. It's like, given the opportunity, that there's no problem at all spending $1 million a year if you're a female. Guys, you'd have to like buy things that still retain their value that you could sell later if you want to spend $1 million a year.
Virtual spaceships.
But for women, it's not hard. Spaceships are worth more now than they ever were. Shut up, man.
It just makes good fiscal sense.
I know, right? Well, you should invest in spaceships.
I would love to be there for the conversation you're having with your financial planner if you have one.
Uh-huh.
So where's your portfolio?
Yeah,
at,
my
Gene?
portfolio resides in 22% spaceships, and
it's great. The game it's gonna be big. People are gonna spend lots more on this.
That's right. Well, the game's up to 800 million now.
That is just
okay. Here's the thing. This is actually funny. I don't know if I mentioned this before or not, but so in the game, you know what Discord is, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So Discord has a bunch of groups. One of the groups I kind of stumbled onto was other people that have spent a lot of money on the game.
Wait, were they like commiserating? Like, oh my God, I can't believe I spent $8,000 on some jet fuel for my spaceship.
So this group is only for people that have spent the minimum of $25,000 on the game.
Wow. How do you know if people were that crazy?
Because the game tells you.
Okay. So there's a leveling in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Once you get past a certain amount,
it's a prestige level.
A sucker level is what it is.
Exactly. So anyway, this group's for people that have spent minimum 25 grand on the game. So in this group, when I popped in there, at the time I was there, live online, there were people that had represented $11 million worth of money in the game,
which is still in alpha,
which is not released yet. And that is a minimum because I don't know how much each person spent. All I know is the minimum that they spent. And that added up to 11 million.
I will say, C. Brooklyn sums it up nicely in one word: nerds.
Exactly. But more importantly, nerds that have jobs that make good
jobs.
Money. Yeah, good jobs. Exactly.
A few questions. How many of these people, because Discord, you can talk with, audio, you can hear each other. I mean, I know you can
talk with anybody if they want to talk to you.
But how many females were in this group of people that spent over $25,000 on a video game? What's a female? Exactly. That doesn't exist in that universe.
Yeah, there is. I can tell you from the YouTube channels, there is one chick that I've seen that does YouTube videos for this game, and her
channel's got to be very popular. If there's a very small number. Her channel is
quite popular, and the entirety of her crew, of her guild, clan, whatever you want to call it, is men. And, and they all have a lot of spaceships.
Yeah, well, they're all trying to impress the queen.
Pretty much. And she's married. Everybody knows she's married, but that doesn't make any difference. And she's got a weird accent, and that doesn't make any difference.
Okay, define weird accent.
Well, she's British, but she also has a speech impediment.
Okay.
Which makes it doubly more interesting to listen to her.
I'm trying to imagine that.
I'll send you a link to her.
Thank you.
Video.
Yeah.
So you can.
Because that's something I'll never be able to want to hear. Imagine.
Yeah. It's a, and she does make pretty good videos. I will say she's their whole group is into more of the role play kind of thing.
Now, wait, are you saying role play while you're playing the game, or you mean you're dressing up while playing the game and you have built a bridge in your home so it looks like the interior of the spaceship that you believe you bought virtually for $35,000?
No.
I mean,
what I mean is by role play, I mean their people have actual roles within when they play the game together. So somebody is the pilot, somebody is a gunner. Then this group of people specialize in doing PvP, with hand weapons and stuff like that, whereas other people are mostly about flying the spaceship. So they're playing as though they're in a military kind of organization, is what I mean.
They're taking it very serious like that. They're staying within their roles. It feels real to them. That's the
that's the central idea. Sorry, I just rebooted my PC here.
I was hearing those little, but you probably won't hear it in the final. Yeah. But I would say I would make fun of you a lot more if I was unaware of the fact that if I didn't blow my eyes out, the latest things that I've seen over the last 5-6 years and especially now that I got back into NASCAR, these simulators that Dale Earnhardt Jr. and those kind of guys have, with the $10,000 PC, with the full cage, with the 3 monitors, I'd totally be spending money on that.
Oh, dude. Yeah. There's a guy that I've watched his videos. I don't watch him regularly, but occasionally, that was a Canadian military dude for his whole life. So he retired at 46 or something. When you've spent 18 till 46 in the military, you get a good pension for the rest of your life. And so what he did after retiring is spend about 60-70 grand on building out a really nice simulator at home for spaceships. Naturally,
I mean, he was a military guy. I thought maybe he still wanted the vibe.
I think he was in the Canadian Air Force or something,
and bombing people.
Yeah. I mean, he does do pilot stuff, but he did piloting stuff in real life, so I think he enjoys the spaceships more.
True. It's different.
It's more different because, it also doesn't have. You don't have to worry about gravity, so you have 6 degrees instead of 4 degrees with spaceships.
It's another part of those younger women. They don't have to worry about gravity as much yet.
Yeah, that's true, too. That is a very good point. So neither do the AI models, man.
True. There's no gravity in AI.
No gravity in not at all. And so he built the simulator, and then he started getting people sending him emails, asking him, and then naturally, because he had a decent audience of people, some people said, "Hey, can you build me one? I've got money." So now he's got a business building these things for people, and they charge $100,000 to make one.
But they're probably awesome.
They're awesome. It takes them, I think, 2 weeks to make it in your house.
A lot of material and a very expensive gear, I'm guessing.
Yeah. So one guy in Germany flew them out to build one of these. He wanted a car one rather than the spaceship one. And his simulator was for driving race cars. And one of the cars in the whatever, I can't remember the game because I haven't done like car games for a while. I think last one I played was about 4 or 5 years ago. But I've got the wheel and pedals and everything, but they're
but you only use those for playing semi truck simulator.
Yeah, exactly. They're actually pretty cheap. They're like a couple $100. The high end gear for car simulators is very pricey. It's like $500 for a pedal.
Yeah,
and several thousand for a steering wheel thing.
Yeah, I remember when I thought it was
you
crazy.
have to buy the actual wheel separately, and those are expensive. And you can get the Ferrari wheel, you can get the whatever other brand wheel,
the actual wheel that goes on
the actual wheel for the actual car. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have a Thrustmaster that one of the first ones they came out with the force feedback, and they were just a few $100 then, but it's like, damn, they've gotten better.
Yeah, they've gotten better, but also way more pricey.
Well, yeah, that's part of the game.
The guy actually had a Ferrari race car in his garage, like one of 6 that's still around from whatever year back that was in that video game. So he wanted to get this built so he could go driving on a racetrack in the simulator without putting any miles on his actual car, but drive his same car.
Right.
And so he spent $100,000 to get these guys to fly out and build a simulator for him.
Well, this is exactly what the race teams do now that the actual amount of practice that they can get is very limited by the series. There is no limit on the amount of time you can spend in a simulator. So if your simulator's good, it's an advantage.
Exactly. And when I say simulator, it's not just it has all the bits. I mean, it's hydraulic.
Right.
So it actually tilts in every direction. So when you're cornering, you feel it in your whole body because the simulator is tilted 45 degrees to simulate that sort of cornering force that you would feel in the car or spaceship or helicopter or whatever. He built another one for somebody that was a helicopter simulator.
Yeah, those crash a lot more.
Well, not in the simulator. I mean, that's the beauty of it is, you may crash, but you can get right out.
Right.
Walk around.
Helicopters are not something to mess around with.
Yeah, I send Adam videos that I watch that are helicopter related because he does still like helicopters more than airplanes. But
because you're a badder-assed pilot if you fly helicopters than you do if you fly airplanes. I mean, there's a lot of people. I mean, there's like 15-year-old girls that are learning to fly Cessnas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's totally true. Totally true. I think, there's 2 things you can do to get kind of away from the crowd of private pilots. One is to get your jet certification because there's way fewer people that are jet certified. The other thing is helicopters. So both of those are a much smaller percentage of pilots than general aviation, than, like your Cessna, like you're talking about. Yeah,
but I'm guessing back in the day when Adam got there in his helicopter, he went up to put on the Ride of the Valkyries and just started doing the whole Apocalypse Now thing.
I don't know how you can fly a helicopter, even in a simulation, without having the Ride of the Valkyries playing.
It's like it has to be.
Why do you think he plays it every time at the start of No Agenda?
Right, it gets ready. It
reminds him of his glory days of actually flying a helicopter. Yeah, totally.
It's like, but way too many people were killed in helicopter crash. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, people die in every which way, but Davey Allison, NASCAR, great.
Technically, they're actually really safe because you can land without power in a helicopter.
Well, less easily than with plane. I mean, planes you can land without power because you got a certain amount of glide.
Yeah, but you need a runway.
But right. I mean, this is true. Helicopters, if you can have just enough time.
Yeah, if you go into an auto gyro mode where your blades are spinning in the opposite direction from the body, which is also spinning, the rate of descent is, I don't know if I would call it controlled, but it's definitely a reduced rate compared to free fall.
Right. Oh, yeah. Free fall bad.
Yeah. Free fall is not good. I think you're still going to feel it in the helicopter if you land that way. But I think the problem is in the moment of an emergency, doing the things necessary to get you into that. Like you have to change the pitch on the blades. you have to make sure that they're still connected to the transmission so that there's full force against the actual body of the helicopter. Like there's a number of things you need to do to,
to make it actually work.
Maybe you disconnect the transmission. I don't know. I've never done this, obviously, but I'm imagining that there's a list of things that you have to do to get ready for an emergency landing with no power.
So you simulate that in your helicopter simulator, and then you have your fiance simulator that you play along with.
Yeah, fiance simulator. That's where she says yes, dear, all the time.
This is right. This is a great game. We should invent it right now. Fiance Simulator by Unrelenting.
Something tells me, okay, I'm going to look it up on Steam right now. I suspect there probably
to be
is
a fiance simulator.
simulator.
No, I don't think anybody is this twisted that they came up with that exact thing yet.
Really? You don't think?
Probably not.
Let's
I'm
find
guessing.
out. But
hey, I mean, you're kind of a coder. Bemrose is kind of a coder.
Yeah.
We have an AI guy.
AI is a pretty good coder.
We can put that all together, and we have a game, Fiance Simulator. I like the idea.
Make sure I spend FIANCE, fiance.
And the FIA.
Yeah, there's no fiance simulator. Holy shit.
Okay, who wants to, right now, I see No Beret, DigiGuru, Omega Project, Surly Mofo. Who is in to fund this first round?
Yeah, I think we might have to do a Kickstarter for this. Do a fiance simulator game.
Yeah. We need at least a few million to start.
Let me just make sure that there is a game called Other People's Fiance Became My Woman. That's an actual game title.
That's somebody that didn't understand pithy.
This is somebody who's clearly Chinese or some other than English persuasion that made this game, because you don't make a title like that in English. You get the point, but that's not proper English.
Ned's in on funding the fiance simulator game. I think he's in for at least $1 million.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, we just got to get like 10 of those, and then we'll be good to go. That's crazy, man.
And 25 minutes ago, see Brooklyn 3333 came in with the boost. How do you boost a podcast?
There you go. We're on our way to funding fiance simulator.
But I will boost your consistencies. Seems that's hard to find these days. Thank you for your courage. No, I get that part. I get there's a lot of shows on hiatus. I was suggesting
he's not saying we have a good show. He's just saying we have a show that won't stop.
We show up. Yeah. We show up. That is all that's important. Mm-hmm. Although I was thinking taking some time off in July, because my buddy Larry
took the week off. That's your week for the year.
He's off for a few weeks in July. I'm like, oh, this is a good idea. Maybe just take some time.
No, that's a bad idea.
No, you're like, never take time off. Never take time off.
You could take all the time off you want when you're dead.
Surly Mofo's like, he will volunteer for the simulator testing. See, people are like, okay.
Oh, we got a tester. And that literally was what
Bemrose's job.
Bemrose was doing, for work for a long time.
Software testing. Do you really want him?
He's a professional tester of Microsoft pornography games.
Right. And they came out with some of the best ones. Leisure Suit Larry.
Leisure Suit Larry, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bemrose behind that. A lot of people don't know that. He was Larry in his own way. Yeah. But not like Larry, the Larry Bleidner from Planet Rage and That Larry Show.
No, that's a different Larry.
Completely different Larry. But I like
What's that Larry do for work?
Not really sure now. I mean, he's written books.
What did he used to do?
Radio, written books, all sorts of things.
So he never had a real job. Got it.
Right. I would think he wrote for, I thought briefly,
Playboy.
like The Man Show. He wrote for some other show. He had they never made it, but he did have a, what do you call it? A project or a treatment that CBS bought.
Mm.
So he was in the biz. Larry knows the biz. Mm-hmm. He started out, still looking to find this commercial. It was a Wendy's commercial. He said when he was like 16, he was the kid going through the drive-thru.
Oh, nice. So he's a professional actor.
Yeah, and he was the original, I think, Lay's You Can't Just Eat Just One of Them kid.
Oh, nice.
So he's been around in the business for a while. That's why he just got the hell out of California and moved back east.
Yeah.
Because California is a shithole.
Well, the people are. The place is beautiful.
Oh, yeah. If you get rid of the people.
I've said that for years. If you get rid of the Californians, California is a beautiful place.
We could just make them move somewhere else. Like make the
Well, they are
Californians
trying to work on extinction there. So give them another decade or so and they'll take care of it for us.
Then we could just move back in and reclaim that land.
Yeah, I have established the, Ronald Reagan permanent Republic of California or something.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
And I did.
It really is too bad that such a nice place is populated by the worst people on the planet.
Well, it's the great weather. It's very, I don't want to say completely mild, but it's more mild than most places. It's more consistent.
It started off as farmers and gold diggers. That's what California was for a long time.
The literal ones looking for gold, not the
Still
kind of
gold diggers
they have now.
Throughout California, but yeah.
They're a little bit different.
All through Bel Air and Malibu.
The women, when they find out Gene has millions in spaceships, they all want in on that.
That's right. They're like, ooh, spaceships. Tell me more. Not.
Nobody ever says, tell me more about that, do they? They're like
things no one ever says when you mention spaceships. Yes.
Which is why there's only one female with a speech impediment in the Discord server.
Pretty much.
And everybody else. Now, is this where people have a good vibe? Are they happy they've spent the money, or is this a commiserating group? Like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this.
There's a bit of both. I mean, people are realistic because this video game is, it's 12 years old and it hasn't been released yet.
Which is an eternity.
Well, yes and no. The problem is that...
Well, it still exists, so I'll give them that.
Well, it does exist, but for the entirety of those 12 years, they've been talking about how they're on the verge of releasing it.
Well, see, now that would be what would piss me off if, like, 10 years ago, they're like, "Hey, we're like 6 months away from releasing."
It was supposed to be. They've been perpetually 2 years away for over a decade.
This is what you do with your fiance too. If you're perpetually 2 years away, you are in good shape.
Yeah.
Just keep that going.
That's the way to do it. So,
as we create the virtual fiance game. Now, would part of the game be actually getting somebody to become your fiance? I think you would have to. You would have to be like, you would start as a dating game girl, but then you'd have to convince her to be your fiance.
No, that's too much work.
And then if she said no, well, then you'd have to lose a lot of points. But but Gene, think about this. The in-game purchases. Well, do you really want to impress her? Buy her that virtual spaceship. Or in this case, virtual diamonds. Yeah.
Ooh.
You buy her these diamond earrings for $5,000, and I betcha.
That's right. For real $5,000.
Yes.
The fake $5,000 diamond rings in the game. Yeah. I think a lot of that stuff is sort of, it's almost here. If it's not here, it'll be here before too long. The idea, like, there's tons of stories of people now that have met online and gotten married for real.
Oh, yeah. And it's
lots of those.
It is still very strange to me, but I know we're in a different
Well, it makes sense because there's always been a small percentage of nerdy chicks out there. And it used to be very uncool, just like the male nerds were uncool. But over the last 20 years, that has greatly changed because the nerdiness has become a lot more cool. Not as cool as some other things, but a lot more cool than it used to be. Because I think the women realized that the nerdy men are making $300,000 a year, and the nerdy girls are still so few and far between that there's like 100 guys wanting to make them their fiance, no matter what they look like. If it's a chick who's into nerdy things, she is pretty much guaranteed she has a bigger pick of the whatever. She has a bigger selection of men than a chick who's not nerdy.
So you're saying
that is a fact right now.
My wife buying Harley Quinn comic books and playing with Lego is somehow a plus for a whole subculture.
I'm just saying that probably a week after you're dead, your wife's going to get multiple engagements offered up to her. That's all I'm saying.
It's like, that's it. Like, oh, perfect. Great. Thanks. Something else to put on the simulator. don't die.
Yeah, I'm saying your wife will be taken care of after you pass. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, thanks. That's always a good way to go about it.
Well, I figured that was your biggest worry.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, if not killing her first, then that sounds more like a murder mystery or something like that.
Or something. Well, if she hadn't killed you yet, I think you're safe.
Well, this is why I don't let her cook. I don't.
So you have been playing it smart.
Right. Can't be poisoned if you don't let the wife cook.
See, my solution was always going the other direction, which is just slowly adjusting to all the poisons so that when someone tries to use it,
So yeah, she's
not gonna work.
She's got the new girlfriend and she's cooking every night. And after about 3 or 4 weeks, she seems a little off. And you're like, rat poison doesn't do anything to me, right? I built up a tolerance. And then she's like, fuck, and she leaves, and that's the end of it.
Exactly. I've been taking cyanide for 30 years, man. That doesn't affect me.
Erythritol
doesn't affect me.
Uh-huh.
I've got multiple bacteria that don't affect me because I've got all the antibodies from them. So, yeah.
An Omega
there is a benefit.
Suggesting the offshoot, which would be funeral simulator.
Not medical advice. Right. Do not start consuming poisons in order to get immunity, people.
The guy on the podcast said it would help me live longer.
Yes. And while you're at it, don't crank up your house to 2,000 parts per million CO2.
Everybody that listened to No Agenda yesterday, all million or so, heard about how your CO2 levels are really high in your house. And how your snakes love it, and how you think it's healthier, and I tell you,
CO2 is it's a very valuable positive thing,
and it goes right towards.
I did not hear that episode. I need to.
You were spoken about. An Omega Project wants funeral simulator as the extension of the these other things.
Let's see if that exists. I mean, this is such an interactive episode. I get to type things in.
It is. And Ned wants my wife's number just in case. So it's like that's
simulator. There's no funeral simulator. There is a funeral home simulator.
So, you're right, because you want to be the guy constantly dealing with dead bodies. Right. Making money. Oh, my God.
There's also a game called Funeral, which is a first-person horror game.
Was that a B-52 flying over your house?
Uh-huh.
And it might not even show up in the final episode. But if you were listening live, you heard the B-52.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of stories lately about
a black B-52 circling my house. What's that all about?
That's not good. That if they start bombing, or if you have helicopters filled with guys in mercenary gear. There have been a couple of stories lately about Southwest planes, which plunged to 400 feet above the ground.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of what that sounded like. Like, do not. Yeah.
Dude, so I flew out to Seattle about a week ago, and I have to say, more so than in decades, the thought of the plane falling apart at 35,000 feet was in my mind, because planes didn't used to do that, but these days it seems like it's more likely.
It does seem like we are regressing as a society with the inclusion now of all of the woke stuff. It seems that people are getting worse at doing their jobs, and it's not just the burger flippers. It's everybody.
Well, Idiocracy predicted this 20 years ago.
Well, the concept that you would let the idiots be in charge of the most important things, that's where we were hoping that would stay comedy and not be like, well, Gene, we looked at the number of brain surgeons here in Illinois, and there were none that
not
were
enough
black or women or whatever.
Yeah.
So we have to add one no matter.
There's just not enough retarded brain surgeons. We need to fix that. The retarded need to be represented more.
Yeah, you really shouldn't be cruel about not letting them do those jobs. I mean,
that's very retardedist of you.
And I really, as somebody with bad vision, think, what do you mean I can't be a race car driver?
No, I think it's important to have a representation of blind people, who overall represent about 16% of the population.
See?
To have them be represented in every NASCAR race by about 16%.
It'd be a more interesting series, let me tell you.
It would be. I would pay for that.
What if there was one person that had to go in the opposite direction on the oval as everybody else?
I think that would very quickly turn into a lot of people going in the opposite direction.
Yes. It would not be good. It would not be good.
Yeah, but no, just putting like one blind or retarded person in NASCAR would have an interesting effect.
Yeah. And
incidentally, retarded is not an insult. That is a medical condition.
I know, but people, it's another one of those words we had hijacked and converted into something that was, oh no, that's mean or that is derogatory. Yeah. Well, no. Now, again, I get it. If you're calling somebody that is completely not retarded, but that's what kids did, man. That was like the big thing.
Nobody ever called anybody retarded. You called them a retard.
I think
that's
an
insult.
Both. I think I've heard both.
Retard is an insult. Retarded is a medical description.
I think I've heard both quite early in the
clearly the person saying that was themselves a retard.
Digiguru says, someday you will thank me for recommending Idiocracy to you. I don't know about that.
Dude, you're like the only one who doesn't like that movie. I don't understand why.
I'm too highbrow, I suppose.
I don't understand why.
I would just much rather be watching Downton Abbey.
No, you wouldn't.
I love Downton Abbey. It was great. And how about Mr. Selfridge with my buddy Jeremy Piven in it, which was kind of like Downton Abbey, but slightly different. That was a good series as well.
You're a chick, aren't you?
I don't know, man. I love watching them Hallmark movies. They're great.
Oh, my God. Yeah, okay. Well, this explains a few things. Like why you still have a wife, for one.
Right. Well, see, I finally learned the secret.
Yeah. Act like a chick.
Right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, even she doesn't like Hallmark movies.
Exactly.
But as far as the blind thing too, though, I did see the retina guy. Everything is a stable. See, the oil's still in the eye. That was bad since they did that surgery. Now, well, that was before Trump. So, I mean, we're going back 7 or 8 years. And you're like, well, there's a little bit of oil coming forward. There's a little bit of scarring on the top or the bottom of the cornea, whichever.
Yeah.
And he's like, this only really matters. And he's like, I really still wouldn't suggest you do anything because, getting the oil out shouldn't be a big deal. The retina should stay where it is, but you never know.
Yeah.
He's like, we are now 3 to 5 years away from the stem cell treatment that may be able to regrow the retinal tissue.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, if that may be okay. So if the actual American optometrist, or what is he? He's ophthalmologist, whatever he is.
The ophthalmologist.
Yeah. If he's telling you you're 3 to 5 years, that means they're currently doing that in other countries.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He talked about that
because we're always
before.
the last to get shit. So if you really wanted to do this, you just find out like if Mexico's doing it.
Like, can you recommend somebody? I don't know if I'd do it in Mexico, but if you could send me to,
Oh, dude, there's no difference. If you go for a high-end medical procedure, there's zero difference where you do it because the average Mexican can't afford it. So all these places basically.
So the best doctor is not going to be out. Where are they? If the best doctors in, like Germany.
No, anywhere.
Italy, Poland.
Because
where can
when
I
you
go?
get really expensive,
where can I go for a nice vacation to?
Procedures like that, they're servicing like 95% non-Mexican patients. So these are not like, oh my God, you went to a Mexican hospital to get some work done. It's like, no, same thing with high end. Like if Adam wanted to redo his teeth the way that he did them here, which I think cost him about $80,000. If you wanted to get them done in Mexico, it would have cost him like $15,000.
Well, it was nice that you picked up the
quality
bill for him. I mean, that was a friend thing to do.
Yeah, I definitely did not pick up the bill for it, but it's something I'm going to probably have to do at some point because I've got a few teeth that need some work. So I'm not looking forward to those costs.
No, well,
used to be,
and it's not fun. I mean, that's the other thing. It's not like
it's definitely not fun. It's way too close to your head, to your face.
Yeah,
it's in your face.
And there is pain and discomfort involved. It's not.
Yeah.
Like an easy operation to go through and then be like, oh, I wake up, I'm fine. Like the gallbladder thing. Yeah, okay, that was gone. 2 days later, pretty much fine. That's not the case with the oral surgeries.
No, and they just like took and put a hole in you and then sucked your gallbladder out through that hole, right?
Yeah, the Da Vinci machine, which has only malfunctioned in a few times I've read, but and one of them was like exposed wiring or something, which then electrocuted somebody or zapped something inside of them and killed them.
Yeah, that happens.
That would not be good. Omega Project says South America would be the place to look for stem cell clinics. I wouldn't doubt that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like I'm not in a super
the Nazis
rush to,
have done a lot of research on this in Buenos Aires, so you might want to check there.
Oh, sure. And he mentioned, which I had read about, he's like, it was not a functioning eye. He's like, but they have now done the first full eye transplant.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yep.
He's like, it didn't, they couldn't see out of the eye, so there's a big way to go still. But the fact that you could transplant the eye is still a pretty impressive thing.
Is it though?
I think so.
I don't know.
The technology has to be.
They're doing head transplants right now.
Well, I mean, you could try that. I mean, somebody would be like, "I'll pay big for that beard, man." Could they do beard transplants? That'd be good.
Beard transplants. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that as well.
Yeah. What do you think's on Trump's head?
Oh, well, there you go. That was Gene's beard from 1976.
No, it's not mine. Mine's not blonde, but
you could dye it.
Probably could.
I think you should. I think that'd be a good look for you. Why don't you dye the hair of your beard red, and you could look like a gnome.
Be a red beard.
Yeah, be the red beard. I tell you, you be red beard, the pirate of my own spaceship army
with a Polish accent. Yes, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, Gene, get the red beard. Come on, play a video game with me. I will blow you out of the sky. It's the way it works.
You still doing that project with CSB on the AI?
No, he kind of bailed out because Bemrose was going to help him with something.
Oh, okay.
And then Bemrose never helped him with something, so I don't know where that is.
Well, that's to be expected, so.
I don't know where that is at this point. It's like, who knows? I'm sure
you can't, CSB, you can't trust podcasters.
No, well, not Bemrose. I mean, that guy, ooh. You can trust me. I'm always honest with him. He doesn't always like what he hears. But I'm like, hey, okay, you're not buying an ad read. I see how that
works. Okay.
Right. It's like you're just not buying an ad read, but will we read it the way you want us to 99% of the time? Yeah, probably. If we ever get to the point that, the donations are so thick that we can't read something at $5, well, that could happen.
Or if you just decide to fuck with them.
True. This is also just, I mean, the way I look at it is any donation with a message or note is there to be content, including, I shall say, the one we got this morning from our buddy Dale from Down Under. Woo!
Oh, yes. What's Dale say?
He comes from a land down under. He came in with 123.05 again, which I think is something after the PayPal fees.
So that's probably like $200 Australian.
Well, it could be. Well, the other day I was looking at something online for, there's one of these AI novel writing software, and it's not, they're only part of it's AI. It's a very interesting bit of software that is possible, it incorporates AI, but it is also very interesting where you've got rather than just opening up something in Word and typing, this has areas for you to, kind of have a database of characters and put in a description and places and put in a description. Then you could be like, well, where is this character mentioned? If you have something with a bunch of characters you're trying to keep a pace on, like, am I writing too much for this one, not enough for that one? You can just go in and see every time a character is mentioned, where they appear, do all sorts of weird stuff. But I went to look at what it cost and forgot for a minute that I was on a Canadian VPN endpoint.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, that's a lot. And then I converted it back to US and I'm like, oh, wait, that's not bad.
How much was it?
It was for US, if you wanted it to include the AI, $14 a month, and it is you get 2 months free, of course, if you do the yearly thing. This does not include, to be fair, this does not include your AI access. You still have to go through another service like Open Router to get the access. But the amount of AI that it uses, I mean, I put $10 in crypto in the Open Router like a month ago, and it's down to $5. So it's not like it drains that all that quickly.
Do they have a George R. R. Martin edition?
They should.
That has unlimited memory?
They should, because this is what you need. Well,
because there's so many characters.
The ChatGPT 4 is ingrained with this, so it was quite interesting. I took some text.
GPT 4 sucks. I can't wait for 5 to come out.
Well, the next one's always better, but I will say that it had the ability for it to be fed, because they warn you then, because you can go into one of the most interesting things to me was being able to chat with the system about the story. So, and it warns you, it's like, well, if you're putting like your whole transcript, I mean, if you've got, a 100,000 word book, it'll be able to do it, but it's going to cost some money, which I tried it out.
Here's the other problem. When you put that transcript in, everything you do with the AI uses itself. So any image you put in it, it will steal. Any text you put in there, it'll take bits out of and provide to other people as suggestions.
Right. Oh, yeah. It uses that to learn and to train.
So keep this in mind. I think a lot of people think they're just using a tool. The tool is using you just as much.
Oh, yeah.
And so
if I was a professional writer making money, I might look at it differently.
Yeah, exactly. And this is what Elon Musk, I don't know if you've been following, said that with Apple phone's new inclusion of OpenAI to process information that he's saying they're basically stealing from you, says that any Apple device of any employee that works for him has to be put in a Faraday cage at the start of the day, and you can't touch it until the end of the day.
Well, yeah, Rob Braxman, the privacy guy on YouTube, he had a whole thing about the one of the chips that is in every new iPhone that is basically the AI chip, which is very concerning, because he said, again, maybe they're not using this for this. This is what they were using to check the images for, the child porn and the bad stuff.
Yeah.
He's like, but it doesn't have to be an exact image, which is where this started. He's like, if a 3-letter agency had a picture of, NetNed's face and they're looking for NetNed, they can upload that to everybody's phone. And that phone, anytime the camera catches an image of somebody, checks it against that. And it only phones home if it finds them.
Yeah.
So,
and that's technically not considered an activity that requires a warrant either.
Which is crazy.
That's technically, you're allowed to do that anytime you want.
It's like, if you think anybody is able to be anonymous anymore, anywhere,
no, you can't be.
Cell phones and Ring doorbells exist. No. It is very.
If you want to be anonymous, you have to go old school. Use a satellite phone.
Well, and you have to wear a mask, which some places now are like, you can't legally wear it, because it used to be illegal before COVID.
You have to wear a mask. You're not allowed to not wear a mask in the bank.
I don't know if a lot of people know this, but in a lot of places, wearing a mask in public was illegal before COVID because
totally. It was illegal during COVID.
Well, yes, they just made not only was it an exception, that was then the rule of like, well,
it was never an exception. Like, no one changed laws. They just ignored them.
Right. It's like walking into a bank with the mask on, like, well, would you please give me all of your money?
Dude, I did that during COVID. I remember I went to the bank. I needed to get something signed. I needed to get something signed or do something at the bank. And I show up without a mask. And they're like, you can't come in here without a mask. I'm like, I can't come into a bank without a mask. It says, nope. It says, well, you have my money. Do you want to just cash me out then? And I think they went in and checked my account and that said, here's what we can do. We'll have a banker come out here to the lobby and talk to you.
Wow, you got your own banking guy now.
Well, I always had my own banking guy, but I had a guy that actually came out. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like hoity-toity. It's just that at my local bank, there was a guy that was assigned to my account. So I did have my own guy.
Well, let me talk with you, Gene, about sponsoring the Random Thoughts podcast with an exclusive.
Tell me about the sponsorship opportunities that you have.
For $5,000 a month, I will talk about all of your podcasts and virtual spaceships. That is a bargain.
Wow.
At any
that
price.
Sounds like a great deal. I'm paying like double that right now.
See, I'm giving you a bargain. It's the friends and family and co-host bargain of the
friends and family and co. I like how I'm excluded from the friends and family there.
I mean, it's because you hit every one of those categories. That's why such a good deal. It's like we are stacking the discounts for you.
Yeah, stack discounts only $5,000 a month.
Got to stack those things in. Well, it's because the audience is so large. It's under 1,000 people a week, so you are getting a very
So it's super directed to advertising.
Yeah. See, people don't understand. You don't want this to go to more people.
No, you're not doing mass market advertising. You're doing super fine-tuned directed advertising just to the hardcore listeners.
Directed towards an audience that will be the most susceptible to whatever it is you're selling.
Whatever it is.
We're not really
Spaceships.
sure. Right. Gene'sVirtualSpaceships.com.
I do need to bump up my rate of sales of those things.
But I was intrigued going back to this book software, throwing in a manuscript, 100,000 words or so, and being able to ask it questions about the character. Be like, well, give me 3 more arcs where it can go from here. And the results, while not, the most creative thing, were workable, definitely. So if you're a writer and you're stuck, a lot of people are like, well, no, this thing's just writing for you. It's like it goes beyond that now, where the thing can give you ideas. It can give you a few points that are like, well, here, have this, and this, or this could happen. And then you have to go write it. I mean, I'm sure the thing could write it for you, but that's also then, I don't know what the fun in writing is if you're just hitting buttons.
That is the fun.
It's just to have it magically appear. Now, if you could sell that, I guess that's a different concept. But I thought overall was very interesting as far as being a
what were you saying? What's the fun in writing? That's literally the exact same fun that people that have ghostwriters have.
Oh, of course. Right.
Oh, yeah, I wrote a book. Look at that.
It's your virtual ghostwriter. And actually, you're probably doing more work because these things, you can, when you break it down.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think actual ghostwriters right now are not using ChatGPT?
I think they have to be using ChatGPT. The only question would be how that is being edited, because you put these things in.
Clearly, you have an editing GPT.
Well, this is it. And this is the most intriguing thing. Okay, so you have ChatGPT, because I played around with that a little bit. Which also leads to another funny story with another company that was claimed. We talked about it on the last show. The one that claimed that they could ChatGPT, they could AI your text.
Yeah.
And I looked and I'm like, okay, their site had things like, USA Today story, this story, this story. And I'm like, and they say they'll give you, it's money back if, your thing, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, of course, 1 month was like $20. And a year is like, $100. So you're like, well, of course I'll just take the year. And I put in like 2,500 words and it was shit. And, I mean, okay, maybe it wouldn't set off the AI things, but it started losing the meaning in some of the things that were put into it. So it's like, well, means just a human's going to have to edit it anyway. So I went and I'm like, well, I only tried this once. Literally within minutes of signing up, I was like, I just want a refund because it's, doesn't really work for me. It's not, the quality sucks. And they gave, well, no, we if you'll notice, we only, nothing, no, we don't give refunds, then I can give you a refund, except for like 1 month at full price again, which was like $20. And I went back and forth with them 5, 6, 7 times, whatever it was. and they're just arguing like, well, can you tell us what was it? And I'm like, it wasn't good. Like, can you tell? They were asking like shit. And I'm like, no, just give me a refund. And they're like, no. And then I'm like, I'm a podcaster and I gave links to every one of my shows. I'm like, I talk about AI in pretty much every one of these shows. Do you really want to make it this hard for me to get a refund?
You played the I'm famous card.
No, I played I have a small platform that I will make sure to tell everybody. And then all of a sudden I was getting the refund and it was processed. So I'll give them that much. I will give them that much. But what I noticed
dude, come on. You totally played the influencer card. That's literally what you did.
I played the do you want me to be a Karen card? It's like
no, it was a lot more than that because you showed them, hey, I'm a podcaster.
I have
these
the platform.
Are all my podcasts that I control.
And if you look, you notice every one of them talks about AI in some way, shape, or form.
Because why wouldn't you?
Because AI is everywhere.
Yeah.
And then I went and looked, which I should have done in the first place. This was a lesson to myself. I took the quotes from the USA Today and whoever else and put them into Google. No match. No match. So it's like they just made all that shit up.
Nice.
And it's like, come on. And it's like, this is the interesting part because the AIs can write some very interesting stuff, but obviously it's still hard to rewrite it in a way and have it understand.
So that's interesting because I actually watched somebody doing that with ChatGPT 4 where they said, rewrite this in a style that doesn't sound like it's been written by AI.
I did that as well, and it worked.
Yeah. And it worked, exactly.
Relatively well, yeah.
Yeah. So there's no reason to go elsewhere.
Except ChatGPT 4, if you have anything it doesn't like in there, then it will. No, I cannot do that. If you objectify,
you got to have
the book.
You can just, if you want to use GPT-4 without restrictions, there's a couple of ways to do it, or a couple of companies, I should say. I think one is something like, I'm not looking at the site, I'm going off memory, so it might be wrong, but I believe it's like what was it called? Unsomething AI. Unrestricted AI or
which would make sense.
Uncensored AI, I think, is the company.
So they have access to the model, but they are not. Which I've noticed with the when. And
then the other one is Gab. Gab is running their own AI, and you could do anything on Gab. You can have the AI crank out articles about how great Hitler was on there.
Nice. Well, I did notice that using the ChatGPT 4 through the novel writing software, which was using Open Router, it did not balk at anything. So that also may allow for, that may be a loophole at this point where ChatGPT 4 is not realizing that the API or whatever these other companies are using are bypassing their moral filters. But I still thought the software beyond the AI was quite interesting, though they knew what people want the software for because it was the $80 a year, had everything, meaning you could do all of the regular stuff that the program does, and it would do the AI as far as you could give it story beats and it would write prose for you. The thing that jacked you up from $80 a year to the $140 was being able to chat about the work, which again, I get it because what you're paying them for, and it may be worth it because what you're paying them for is to take your data and create the most efficient prompts for you to get what you want. That's the tough thing. Because even with ChatGPT 4, and if you noticed on our last episode, how you doing, ChatGPT 4? We have chapters, and they were pretty good chapters. And again, this was all just putting the transcript into ChatGPT 4. But every time you have to do something because by default, it's going to do the JSON where the chapter start time is 2 words, start time, where to work with all the podcasting 2.0 stuff, they want start lowercase capital T, then lowercase IME, all one word.
So you just have to do a global search and replace?
you can do that, or you can just tell ChatGPT, write start time as this and show me the time in seconds. But you have to do this prompt every time because by default, it's going to do what the JSON standard is. Not
and who uses the JSON? Is that like everybody else other than podcasting?
Well, I don't even know JSON's been around, but that's the way these chapters files are. But the
JSON's the format. But I'm saying, so who uses JSON for chapters? Like Adobe software?
Everybody. That's the whole podcasting 2.0 is JSON. The Bemrose thing, if you go onto GitHub and do the Bemrose, that's all. It creates the JSON file.
What's the Bemrose?
He has the software.
It's called Bemrose.
It's very simplistic, but he's got a podcasting 2.0 chapters. So you can download, run the EXE, and it just opens up a very simplistic interface where you put in the time and it will convert it into seconds, which is good. So you don't have to have the seconds. You can put in, 13 minutes and 13 seconds. Mm-hmm. It'll convert that all into seconds. Mm-hmm. And then just put whatever you want for a title. You can put in an image if you want to, and you can put in a URL if you want to.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very simplistic, but it does the job. But the reality is ChatGPT will do all that for you, and it'll listen to your podcast, and it'll do the time, so you don't have to do this manually. I know what you should do,
dude.
Yeah.
Record a screencast video of a how-to to do this, because I guarantee you if you do that, Adam will freaking talk about it. And because a lot of podcasters, either don't know they can do this, or they may have heard about it, but don't know what's all involved.
True.
So now that you've gone through that process multiple times, you should really do a video on it.
He'll be like, "Damn it, I don't like this AI stuff. It's bad." But if you look at our chapter,
no, he's not. No. If it helps podcasting 2.0, he's not going to say it's bad.
For the last episode, ChatGPT made 32 chapters for Unrelenting.
That's quite a few.
Intro and medicine musings. Then welcome back, Sir Gene. That's right, you were away.
I was away. Yeah.
Musical memories and John Williams is the next chapter. Remember that? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Chicago fireworks fiasco, like that.
Mm-hmm.
Economic musings and war predictions, the economy and daily struggles, global warming and CO2 debate. Yes, we were talking about CO2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We always talk about CO2.
The science of oxygen, health benefits of CO2. That was at 19 minutes into the last show.
Yeah.
Gun talk and bump stock reversal, aliens and atmospheric toxicity. That's right. We were talking of. This is just fantastic. Cicada season, AI and music recognition, AI enhancing productivity. This really.
And then for this one of the chapters is going to be AI creating chapters.
Yes, creating chapters for AI, creating chapters for AI, creating chapters for AI.
Exactly, for AI, for podcasts. Yes.
But if you do a show like ours, and there are a lot of them out there which are very conversational, which jump back and forth, doing the chapters by hand can be a complete pain in the ass.
I've stopped. I'll tell you, I used to do them manually for just 2 good old boys. I stopped doing chapters for that reason, because doing chapters was taking me like 15 minutes every episode.
At least. Well, because
at minimum.
Even if you're doing it with the transcript, and then you're missing something.
Yeah. And I would just be like, okay, I just need to get like 10 things out of there. I'll just make 10 chapters. That'll be good enough.
Right.
Because when I first started, I started, for Sir Gene, like 3-4 years ago, whatever it was, I did chapters for every. So what I would do is I would re-listen to the episode, and I would stop every time that I think, this should be a new chapter.
Right.
Then I would find an image to put in there for that chapter. So every chapter had its own image. And then if it referenced something, I would find the link to that thing and then put that in there. So it was literally taking me like an hour per hour to create chapters.
Ooh, I
so
wonder
a 2-hour show would take 2 hours.
I bet you I could have ChatGPT add an image to each one that kind of
worked. I bet you could.
That
probably
would be nice.
Do it pretty quick.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Again, I'm telling you, dude, this is something that a lot more people that make podcasts would love to see an example of. You should just do a screen record. You don't need to be on camera. You just need to be doing the voiceover.
Really what we should have, this is very much And the writing software is called Novel Crafter, which is it's relatively new. But as I said, the main thing it's doing in the background would be organizing your things and helping to write the prompts. The reality is we should just create the software to create the prompts so somebody can
I agree. I totally agree.
You know, upload the, you know, and really you can do, I believe, the transcripts now. I've never tried with ChatGPT to see how much different, because I think it can do transcripts. If you give that the MP3 of this episode, I'd be curious how different the transcript would be from what Adobe's pulling, but I believe it can do the recognition and then give you the transcript. So maybe that's another thing. I shouldn't even be worrying about Adobe to do the transcription if ChatGPT can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just have the software set up to be, well, give me chapters and, you know, do the formatting and just have a couple check buttons. Like, do you want chapters to be, you know, humorous or dry? Do you want it to be fat? You know, a couple different things. Boom. Few different choices, and all of a sudden they've got the transcript, they've got the chapters, they've got the files. All they need to do is upload the 3 files, your MP3, your chapters, your transcript, and boom, Bob's your uncle. Would people buy into that? Because that might be a
check your signal.
Might be a good business, especially with the open router thing. Like, just get your prompt generator. That's what we need, man. We need the prompt generator to do exactly what we want, exactly what we need. And I found it to be quite useful. I have had to find it a few times. Here's the other
thing that'd be kind of neat is to have GPT listening continuously during the recording of the podcast to come up with things that are relevant to use as links or potential bits to add in later.
Well, the fact that it can talk also means that you could just be a part of the co-host.
We could just replace you. Right. I mean, me.
Right. Yeah. You go into 11 Labs, you take Gene's voice, boom. You don't even know
my
Gene's
voice,
on vacation.
It does not do a good job on my voice. I did my voice on 11 Labs.
I've never tried it, but I bet you mine's going to suck too.
I've got yours on 11 Labs. I already did that a long time ago.
Right, but I knew it wasn't. It didn't even sound like me to me. Maybe to other people.
Literally just like you. Everybody thought it was you.
Nobody did. It's like it sounded very weird. Weird.
Literally sounded just like you.
But it is something I may try as well to see how that works. I'm curious on that. With the podcast, it would be nice to be able to do short form content and just have that throw the audio out there.
Well, and I think you're right. And this is something I haven't spent any time playing with, but I probably should, and say that I probably could come up with like a short list of things and then have it, using my voice, put out an episode of Sir Gene Speaks once a week without me even having to talk.
Right.
And just purely based on, here's the 5 bullet points that I want to have it talk on this topics, and then have it just spit it out, do the transcripts, do the chapters, do the marketing blurb, because that's what I do as well for these shows. The marketing blurbs are nice and easy. And again, it's something that you really don't want to do. And then somebody else will use ChatGPT to give me a summary of this.
Right. Well, that's what the kind of exactly the same thing for the last one. ChatGPT, I said, give me your best pitch for the last episode of Unrelenting. And it gave me dive into the latest episode of Unrelenting, where hosts Sir Gene and Darren O'Neill take you on a roller coaster of engaging topics and spirited debate. From the quirky tales,
which literally means nothing.
I know. From the quirky tales of cicada season to the critical discussion on firearm safety and the surprising benefits of CO2, this episode is packed with insights you won't want to miss. Explore the future of AI in writing, uncover the secrets of grading trading cards with AI precision, and enjoy a nostalgic trip down memory lane with John Williams' iconic music scores, with subtopics ranging from swimming pool memories to the economic impacts of daily struggles. This episode promises a blend of humor, thought-provoking content, and the unique chemistry of your favorite podcast duo. Tune in now for a dynamic and unforgettable listening experience. I mean,
I don't think a person could do better. I mean, it's total bullshit, but I don't think a person could do better.
Right? I mean, this is it.
Total marketing speak. Yeah.
Because really, you can't get into any really details on a 2-hour show that crisscrosses so many topics.
Yeah,
but
it's what that is exactly the kind of promo that a radio station would run for a talk show.
Yes, exactly. It does it well. And I think a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs pretty quickly with that. Yes, Billy Bones says that's a long elevator pitch. Well, I said give me a paragraph. I didn't say, give me 2 sentences. But back to Dale. We can't forget Dale with his 12305. He says, hope all is good with you, comrades. If one tweeted on Twitter, does one now excrete on X? I think maybe. There's a lot of things.
This is the problem with using X as a name, because I think there is an official recommended name for X posts, but it's not as natural as, tweeting on Twitter.
Right.
Because the word Twitter is the person or entity that tweets. So naturally you would be tweeting if you're on Twitter.
Yes.
But if you're on X, you're Xing. I don't know. I mean, you're definitely not excreting. Although you could argue that most content on X is excrement.
Yes.
But, I don't know. I still say you tweet on X.
Which is funny. I mean, because really the alternative would just be post. And saying post doesn't really...
Well, what do you do on Instagram?
A post.
You do post on Instagram.
That's always what people have used, because there was no cute little thing like I grammed or I insta'd. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much. It's just you post there, you post on Facebook, everywhere else you post, which is what made Twitter different, because you tweeted. Where you're right. I think even on TikTok, people would say I posted to TikTok.
Yeah, you don't talk on TikTok or something. You don't tube on YouTube.
No, you post a video
upload or you post a video. Yeah. So Twitter is the only thing that really had its own distinct name for posting.
And Elon ruined it by going to X.
He kind of did, but I think that was just he wanted to bury the name Twitter because he really disliked it.
Yeah, it was a fuck you to Jack Dorsey.
A total fuck you. Yeah, exactly. It's like, I bought your company and I changed the name.
And people would never remember you.
Nope. You're dead.
He says,
and Dorsey totally let that thing get fucked up. When Twitter first came out, I was at the launch of that thing. And I got my old account that was banned a long time ago. On the day of their initial release,
Mr. Love at
pre-release or whatever. It was at South by. And, the only stuff you had on there is people posting went to lunch at blah, 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 had blah, blah, blah.
Well, there were no pictures. You only had 140 characters.
Yeah, it was very innocuous. It was just people posting about what they're doing in life. And occasionally you'd have, hey, I'm at this exhibit at South by. Come and meet me at 1 p.m. Stuff like that on there.
There was no way to tag or message anybody else.
There was nothing.
And it was the best Twitter ever was because of that.
Well, and I made a website that had a feature like that back in the 90s.
Oh, you could have been Jack Dorsey, man.
It could have been if it was more popular. I had websites, one for Chicago and then another one for Minneapolis, another one for Kansas City. And they had a live chat component in there where people, as long as you were logged into the site, you could, type something that was limited to one line, and that would be displayed. The last 5 of these posts would be displayed on a scrolling thing on the website. And, it was like you can make a comment or just chat or do whatever. It was like a old school interactive chat for website users.
That was still the greatest thing when the bulletin board systems became multi-user simultaneously.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And added the chat room. I remember that. I remember doing that on my TRS-80 color computer. Way back in the good old days.
That's really old days. Yeah.
Yeah. The first girl I ever went out with, I met on a board. Yeah. Believe it or not.
Oh, my God. You're such a nerd.
I know, right? That was like 86. Time flies when one's having fun.
No, that's true. That's true.
Those local bulletin boards, man, they was hot.
Yeah, I ran a bulletin board back in the day.
And you just imagine all the stuff you were reading that people didn't know you could read.
Oh, well, yeah. And I was very exclusive, believe it or not.
No Beret says Gene almost made AOL. I mean, very close. He was
almost. Yeah, pretty close.
Just need that walled garden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, AOL. Well, remember, AOL didn't have internet until after the fact. Like, eventually they added internet.
They blocked you from the internet because the internet was dangerous. They couldn't control it. I mean, we should get back to that for kids and idiot adults who can't pass. It wasn't just that. Test.
It was that in the early days of AOL, the internet was not for business. Like, I remember distinctly having these arguments with people that you will violate internet law if you start selling products on there commercially.
Right. They did not like that. It was all supposed to be it was
for research, education, and nonprofits. That's what the internet was for, and the military. But that was the argument. It's like, you can't just go out and start advertising shit on the internet. You can get kicked off. That's not what it's for.
Yeah. Think of OnlyFans.
That took about a year to change. And all of a sudden it was like everybody's building a website. Even Playboy bunnies have websites now. What the hell?
I know. And again, I've told those stories multiple times. How much Playboy went after them was fantastic, really, when you look back at it, to see another company really grappling with the fact that they knew they were about to become a relic. Right.
Like, we don't want influencers. We want to control these models.
Right. Because if the girls can do this on their own, then what do they need us for? Oh, no.
Exactly. Now, and then the OnlyFans came about.
Right. Which is like exactly that concept. Like, well, no, you want to do naughty pictures and videos? Come over here.
Well, and to be fair, way before OnlyFans, there was, what was the other site? It was, there was a kind of a porno-ish site where basically it was anybody could upload their own porn videos and then they were sold. I can't remember the name of it though.
Good times.
Yeah, I can't remember it, but it was like something content or something clips for sale. It was the stupidest name. That's what it was. It was like Clips for Sale, I think was the website.
Way better than Spaceships for Sale.
I mean, it's such a stupid name, Clips for Sale. OnlyFans is much better.
Well, I did like that Billy Bones mentioning CNN was talking about. Most likely the story he's referring to here is that, like, the Surgeon General now wants to have warning labels on social media. Like, where
Fuck him.
Well, yeah. And again, I covered this on the Random Thoughts this week. The internet is global, people. You know, this concept too, Ted fucking Cruz, your guy down there in Texas.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we need to pass laws for deep fake porn and it's like, how are you going to fucking do this? You mean
that porn has to be deep fake only?
I think so. That's the way they want it. You know, they don't want people to have their face used. And I'm like, well, why? Right. Well, how are you going to do this? I'm like, if the porn's then created in, Estonia, what are you going to fucking do, Ted? Nothing you can do. And I make the case.
That's not true. We have a law here in Texas that says you can't look at porn without providing your driver's license.
I know. You got to love that. Texas.
You
got to love
more porn. No more porn for Texas.
And I will make the case, and maybe we've made this before here, that anybody that has an Instagram, TikTok, whatever account, you have now put yourself in the realm as a public figure who have way less actionable things to go after people when things like fake porn and all that are created. I think because again, you want to know how to not have fake porn made with your face, girls. Don't post pictures. Right. It's very simple. But the minute you want to be an influencer,
it's all ridiculous anyway, because at the generation that's currently in college and younger, they've all sent nudes to their boyfriends, girlfriends in high school. All of them, 100%. So everybody's nudes are out there already anyway.
Now, the intriguing thing becomes if you're saying they're doing this in high school, then there's a lot of people who should be going to jail for child porn.
Yeah, like Apple.
Yeah, well, and Apple's going to be the one to turn you in, man. Well,
they will, but what are they going to turn themselves in? Because, these kids took photos of themselves to send to other kids.
Right.
So that you can't be, it's not, I don't know. It's a catch-22 because technically they're allowed to have sex with each other, just not with somebody older.
But you can't video it. You can't photograph it.
But what if you photograph yourself? They can't prevent you from photographing yourself.
Now, if you distribute that, I was fully behind. I covered this when it happened a couple of years ago, I think in Pennsylvania or something, the girl, and that was being charged. And people are like, well, this law was never meant to. I'm like, yeah, but otherwise you're turning the girl into Heisenberg. She can create all the child porn she wants and sell it. But, oh, no, you can't prosecute her because she's a child. It's like, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
Like, you gotta really, this is.
But I think that's because this is the uncomfortable truth that you get to with child pornography is it's not the pornography portion that is evil here. It's the child portion.
Right.
And so what people rightly don't want is child pornography, not because it's child pornography, but because they want to protect the children from being in something unwittingly.
Right. Now, when they make it themselves.
What about the child who wittingly is okay with doing their porn? Well, you could say, well, they're not, their brain hasn't matured. They can't make the decision. I would tend to say that. That would be the argument I would make. But technically speaking, what if you have full consent from the child? Like, how do we allow children to decide what gender they are and get mutilation surgery
at 12? And
that's okay. And we don't let them simply turn an iPhone on themselves having sex with somebody.
Right.
What? How did those two things balance?
Then there's really not a whole lot of information besides just the fact that the Covenant shooter, Audrey Hale, was for 22 years, it sounds like, a patient with the Vanderbilt Hospital mental issues part. There's going to be some very interesting stuff coming out.
Well, I post regularly. I don't think a week goes by where I don't post on X that this is what happens when you close the insane asylums.
And well, obviously this was closed. I mean, not an asylum, but this person was getting treated by professionals that
is it really treatment if it doesn't work? If for 20 years of treatment, the end result is a mass shooting, is that treatment working?
No, and especially when it seems like this person was very clear about having these kind of fantasies. So it's like you can't even be like, well, nobody saw this coming.
Yeah.
Like, well, everybody saw it coming.
And as a psychologist, you are required by law to notify authorities if your patient is expressing violent ideas. I mean, there are laws on the books for that. You can't not disclose that.
I didn't say Heidelberg. I said Heisenberg, didn't I? The guy, from Walter White, No Break. We got to hear it. It was a Breaking Bad reference. But it's true. I mean,
I got it. I got your reference.
No beret. He was a little short. I said Heisenberg. We'll see. The AI will let us know in the post show.
No, you said it correctly.
I thought so.
Yeah.
I'm a highly trained podcasting professional.
Yeah, you could do this with your eyes closed.
And I do with one always closed. It makes it even more fair for everybody else.
I'm just in the spirit of that. I do mine with my eye closed as well. I close my right eye usually when I do the podcast.
Solidarity, man.
Lets me take a little bit of a nap while I'm doing it.
It's a half nap, right? I don't know if it works that way.
Yeah.
But speaking of women in states of undress, our buddy Dale continues. I hope you gave that cicada a bit of lettuce or something for getting the missus to get her gear off as soon as she got in the door. That's some value. Yeah, but she wasn't in a frisky mood at that point. When the cicada gets underneath your clothes.
That you instantly want to have sex. I know.
Right.
That's how that works.
It's like just so like freaked out.
Ooh, I have bugs crawling on me. Let's jump in the sack.
I mean, this is a good excuse for any like husband if you just want to rip.
It is a good excuse
off.
to take a shower, and a shower is always better with somebody else in there.
Well, yeah, because you don't want to have to like soap up yourself. I mean, that's just crazy use of energy.
Yeah, I agree.
But so I guess for all the husbands or boyfriends out there, just rip your wife's clothes off or your girlfriend's clothes or somebody else's wife, whatever it is, and be like, "Oh, I thought there was a cicada."
Yeah. I heard a cicada coming from inside your clothes.
Yeah. And I was just trying to help out.
Do you not hear that pitch? Are you deaf to that frequency?
Might be. And Ned just came in with 1,000 sats. He says, I close my eyes only for a moment and the moment's gone. That's deep. It's very deep.
That is deep.
But
I can't believe you read his ad read like that.
I know. Only if the other CBS would give us some good ad money.
CBS, yes. We're waiting for that CBS money.
Important question, though, from Dale from Down Under. Sir Gene, what happened to the wrongly delivered mirror? Is it in the workout room to check your form, or is it on the ceiling over the workbench/bed to check your form?
I can't believe he remembers that.
It's a callback.
The wrongly delivered mirror is still in the original box, sitting in the hallway.
Still sitting right by the door, just in case somebody shows up.
Well, I don't know what to do with it. I can't throw it away. I have bad luck. Is that it? Yeah, exactly. At some point, I may have to just leave it at somebody else's door.
That's a great idea.
That's all I can think of, because you can't dispose of a mirror. It's like 10 years of bad luck, or 7 years of bad luck.
So what you're really waiting for is an attractive female to show up with your food order.
Yeah.
And be like, you want a full-length mirror? I mean, you look like you could use a full-length mirror.
I'm going to give you a tip, and it might be a little unusual, but work with me on this.
It's a really nice mirror. Are we sure it's a nice mirror? Are we sure it's actually a mirror?
We have no idea what kind of mirror it is, but the box does say mirror on it, so I know it's a mirror in the box.
And what size is the box approximately? It was like
It's about probably 4 feet by 2 feet.
Interesting. Now, what I would like to do is have you give that to somebody, and then the story be on the news like, random Uber driver gets a tip of a rare painting that was inside of a box.
Yeah, that would be funny.
A priceless multi-million-dollar painting.
Now, I did get a purse delivered by mistake recently.
Oh, was it your name on there?
No.
So do you know where it was belonging then, I would guess? No. Right address?
It was the right address, but a different name.
Interesting.
So somebody misordered, and I thought, well, what the hell is this? Opened it up, because I don't remember maybe I bought something, but nope. It was a purse. It was one of those, fancy brands.
Gucci? Louis Vuitton? Coach?
Something. It wasn't a Louis Vuitton. It was either Coach or Gucci or something like that. And it was used.
What?
Yeah. So somebody, it was
like
arrived
an
from
eBay
China.
thing then.
It came from, it was an eBay thing. And somebody clearly had put in the wrong address. And I was too lazy to go searching by their name to find them. I'm like, well, you know what? That's what you have insurance for. So I still haven't thrown that away. I don't know what to do with it. I think I'm just going to throw it away.
I'm just picturing a whole brand new game here of people scouring eBay for very weird items and shipping them to you. What did Gene get today on the Unrelenting show?
Yeah, that exists. There are plenty of YouTubers that do a box opening videos.
Oh yeah, I can't stand those. Otherwise, I would do
a lot of fans send shit to people, like vibrators and things.
Oh, for those kind of shows, sure.
No, I mean, like, they send them to video gamers because it's funny when they open up a box and there's a vibrator inside.
And I would do like a glitter bomb with it then, but I'm just a dick.
Okay, well, you're just an asshole then.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
A glitter bomb. That's the worst possible thing you can give somebody.
Under the dildo. So the dildo comes out first, and then, but there's like a little extra special box, like open this last.
Yeah.
And see, then I would also build a glitter bomb to have one of those little audio, very cheap, like when the greeting cards that you can program and you open them up and just be like, fuck you.
Yeah. Well,
you've been glittered, bitch.
Yeah. Anyway, so that exists. The other thing I was going to mention is I came to a realization that I watched quite a few YouTube videos that the realization isn't about YouTube, it's about you. But a lot of videos that are reaction videos, like it's a YouTuber watching somebody else's video and then reacting to it, or not necessarily another YouTuber's video, but it's a YouTuber watching a video from something and then reacting to it.
Do you think
I came to realize, like, dude, that's what you and Larry do. That's frankly what Adam and John do. They're doing a reaction audio.
Yeah. Of hearing a clip and then doing a reaction.
Yeah, pretty much.
We could get totally meta and we could do reaction videos to people doing reaction videos.
There was one I watched the other day that was a meta. It was basically a guy doing a reaction video, a video gamer dude who does reaction videos, doing a reaction video to another guy about the game Star Citizen, in which that guy was talking about the game and then reacting to the first guy's video in the game. And then he was in the chat section of the first guy doing the reaction and saying, I'm totally going to make a reaction video to your reaction video to me reacting to you. So it's like a meta thing.
Dude. I've seen a few. The only person I see with regularity for whatever reason that it pops up on my YouTube recommended list is the classical musician chick, redheaded, that does a bunch of these things with like mainly rock music and things.
No, send me a link. I watch a few of those. There's a couple of redheaded chicks. I wonder if one of them is the same as what I'm.
Probably she's quirky looking, but she's adorable doing the videos and really.
Oh yeah, well that's definitely sounds like the one that I've seen. It's a fake redhead then.
Probably.
Yeah, send me a link. I see if it is. The one I'm thinking of, is she British?
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe it's a different one. The one I'm thinking of is British because she's definitely quirky and cute.
There was the first video I saw was of The Who, where Roger Daltrey starts swinging the microphone and she basically had an orgasm. Like, what's he doing?
It's a different chick. The chick that I'm thinking of is a vocal coach.
Which makes sense. This is how you start doing these videos of, let me watch great performances. People request things that you've never heard before, allegedly. And the other take on this that I enjoy, and there's not really enough of them out there, but whatever the drum site is, does one where they play drummers. And the first one I saw was a really hot female drummer, so that helped. Play them a song without the drum track. And
I watched that too as well. Yeah.
Those are amazing. I mean, what these musicians can do is pretty amazing when you think about how quickly they can hear a song and then have the drum track down like the next pass through.
Yeah.
And it always sounds good.
Or any instrument.
True. Well, I mean,
yeah,
that is absolutely true.
Yeah. Like there's a similar thing to where they play the music without a bass and then they have a bassist add a bass line to it. And it's usually like 85% the same with like 15% slightly different.
Now, the question is, can we add AI into the mix and be like, are you better than AI at coming up with the part on the fly? Boom, boom, boom.
I think AI is going to be pretty good.
Dale from Down Under closes out his note by saying, stay unrelenting, mofos. And we say that right back to you, Dale. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Dale.
12305. The rest of you should learn from Dale.
Yeah, if you want to get a long ad read, the way that Darren just did Dale's, that took like half an hour. Send in $100 or more.
We give the best ass reads. Just go over to unrelenting.show.
Nobody does ass reads the way that Darren does ass reads.
Highly professional. Highly professional. There's a lot more room open now.
He's the ass master.
that CBS stopped sending his $5 per week. A lot more room open.
That's true.
And I really haven't noticed a financial difference in my life with the. So while I appreciate CSB, we're not going to whore ourselves for under $5 or $5. Now, $50, $100, now you're starting to get in to the right territory.
Yeah, if you want to just send like $100 and then have Darren read an ad read about how horrible a person he is, he'll probably do it.
Yeah. Yesterday, on No Agenda overall, not a lot of donors, but there was one who came in with 2 donations. One for $3,333.
Whoa.
And another $1,000 to knight somebody else. So $4,333 from one donor.
Wow. That's somebody with a big house.
Yes. I would hope they may need a mirror. You should get in contact with them and be like, do you need a full-length mirror?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for that day on any one of my shows. I mean, not discounting Dale. We love you. That you have been more than generous. But the first time, I mean, I think I might just wet myself a little when you open up the donation and be like,
oh, you're getting to that stage where you have incontinence.
Well, yeah, 54, man. I mean, isn't this where you start buying those disposable underwear just to be safe when you go?
Me, but I guess
when you go out to the Taylor Swift concert, so you don't have to go to the restroom.
I think at the Taylor Swift concert, there's an awful lot of wet pants
for a variety of reasons. I read an article, and I wonder, and I'm sure this happens at every concert. But the Taylor, it's an interesting thing because the audience, I do believe, is 90% women.
It is,
and
more accurately, girls.
Probably a lot of girls,
mentally for sure.
The problem being, girls can't handle their liquor, and I guess there have been quite a few instances of people being spewed on. At these concerts. And the funniest thing to me was the reaction being, and then the venue, they didn't do anything. Like, well, what do you expect? What did you expect the venue to do? Because some other asshole threw up on you.
Yeah. Wear a raincoat.
Right. Exactly. It's like, you think the venue's like, well, we have multiple changes of clothes for everybody that we can just hand out. No. You're going to smell for
they serve liquor at those concerts?
Oh, yeah. I mean, when the show started, I don't know if this is still, I'm guessing it probably got worse. But when the tour first began, I saw somebody post that there were specialty drinks going along with some of the song titles, and the drinks were like $20 a piece.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, this girl is a capitalist.
Yeah, even though she talks about communism being great, but
she makes a lot of money for a commie.
Well, most commies make a lot of money.
Well, yeah, because when you're leading the cult, then you've got the money coming in. You just get everybody else's money. And you've got the
excuse, I need that airplane so I can talk about how bad global warming is.
Right. Well, that was, was that? I think it was in the latest No Agenda newsletter, I believe, where it was not Musk. We like Musk. Mark Cuban, who, oh no, global warming was the quote they had from him. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
And then the next article was inside Mark Cuban's private plane collection.
Yeah. It was like Mark Cuban, his tweet was, I'll never hire somebody who doesn't believe in global warming.
Yeah.
And then, they talk about his airplanes and all that crap. Here's the thing. It's really easy for people like that to have a holier than thou attitude because they can, in their minds, they can pay for and justify being the exception.
Right. Because they are special.
Because just because they're the exception in their minds, it doesn't diminish what they're saying. It just means they're the exception.
Like Al Gore with his house that uses more power than every other house in Tennessee combined.
City. Yeah, exactly.
J Moon came in with 3333. Thank you, J Moon. Says pew, pew, pew. Yeah, just nice. A few digits for you too. I like that it rhymes too. Rhyming helps as well, CSB or CBS, if you want to send things in. Rhyming is makes the post more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Unrelenting is a little show about nothing, about everything. It's about AI. It's about life. It's about being a influencer. It's about hating influencers. It's about food. Did you order your food for today?
No, I ordered food yesterday.
Oh, you're not eating today?
What?
You're not eating today?
Well, I mean, I ordered groceries yesterday.
Oh, I got you. I made some chicken shawarma yesterday. Oh, it was so good. And I think it actually worked better in the frying pan than it did making the chicken in the air fryer.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought some of this Greek flatbread and just put that right in with a little bit of hummus. And so good. So good.
Yep.
And I think you're right. I think the beef and the MSG is bad. The chicken's the way to go.
Yeah.
And
I think chicken is the way to go.
We found this little El Fez or something. Marinated. Yeah.
Yeah. It's an extra step that takes time, and most places don't want to do it. They just want to put sauce on top and just call it a day. But if you can find a place that actually does marinate, it's just so much better.
Or you do it yourself. I found you just cut that chicken into little strips and put it in. Let it soak up for 6 hours to overnight.
Overnight's best. Yeah. And the best way to do it, and I haven't done this for a long time, I used to do it back in the day, is use the attachment from your vacuum sealer to
vacuum seal it.
Yeah. Well, basically, here's what you do is you put in the chicken, or you could use it for meat too, but I was doing it with chicken usually. Put in the chicken, cover it with marinade, and then you want to poke holes in the chicken with like a bamboo skewer or a fork. You could do it with a fork, something. Put some holes in there.
It right on in.
Yeah, you put the whole thing into a container, then you suck the air out, which pulls the air out of chicken and everything. And then you let the air back in, and then pushes the sauce, the marinade, into the chicken through those holes. So you're like impregnating it very quickly. That way, you don't have to do a full overnight marinade. You get the same amount of flavor even after a few hours. Using the vacuum marinade method. But also you could, without using a vacuum sealer thing, you could still do it with just time, because eventually that flavor does penetrate the chicken.
We do not give you financial advice. We do not give you medical advice. We will give you plenty of food advice.
Mm-hmm.
You can try it out, see how good it tastes. Then let us know with a big boost.
Yeah.
Got anything else going on this week?
Not really. I think I'm, not really.
Darren, why there no show?